Okay, let's try it this way without the Wi-Fi and see if that's going to work any better. There are so many people right now, especially during this particular time period, this time of day. A lot of people are on using Instagram Live, and so it's almost that we kind of compete with one another in a way. So I'm waving back people in, and I'll say my little spiel again once folks are back on. I know that you're on. I'm hoping that it's going to stay nice. Let's get through our session because we have a lot to do, and we're definitely going back to our mindfulness practice. We started yesterday, so this is part 2 of our mindfulness session, for which we are focusing on our intentions and things that we're going to do, right? And so that's why we're calling today's session, where do we go from here? What's going to happen from here? Are you going to be able to keep your daily practices as we've been working together on what some of those things are? Are we going to be able to do that? So again, I am Dr. Karen Dade. I am the CEO of Multicultural International Development Company. And one of our famous properties within that company is MIDC We Network, which stands for Women's Empowerment Network. And so Women's Empowerment Network has hosted this 30-day. But I want to tell you the other things that they've done. This is over 100 women across the nation, and even some women that are abroad as well. And we're continuing to grow those numbers. And so we have had social sip book clubs and presentations across the country in major cities, looking at the kinds of books, not necessarily about romance, but looking at the reality, looking at things like mass incarceration, for one. Another thing that we've done is we've done retreats together. We've done retreats that focus on the mind, body, and spirit, and how do we begin to tap into our chakras and energy points, and our intuition to be able to get more out of life than what we have been taught that we are as human beings. So don't forget, we are beings having a human experience, and we've been learning a lot about that. So we've had retreats like that. We've had entrepreneurial retreats for women. And so this has been quite an active network. I like to call it a network, not an organization, because we also try to look after one another to support each other in our businesses. Okay. And so not only am I the CEO of MIDC, but I'm also a professor of education. And I've been a professor for more than 25 years, and I've been in education for more than 40 years. I've had the opportunity since that time to travel to more than 40 countries, a lot of which I've lived for periods of time. And not only bringing my area of expertise, which is culturally creative curriculum development. How do we address anti-racism and social justice? This is the work that I teach, I research, I write many books on. But in addition to that, I realized that we can look at all of these issues that have been going on for a really long time. But if we don't know the root of those issues, then we'll continue to go in circles and circles and circles. And so part of that root is that we don't know ourselves completely. We don't know our capabilities completely. And that's because we are raised up in a society that often teaches us quite the opposite of who we are. Okay? So yes, the Women's Empowerment Network has been very busy discovering these things. And it was because of the Women's Empowerment Network and our concern over the COVID-19 virus, when that first became a pandemic, that we called an emergency two-hour-long conferences, teleconferences, to be able to check in with one another, to be able to hear from people directly what was going on in their cities, what is happening within their families, what do they need for help, So it was a reaching out and a talking about all of the different things that were going on at that point in time. And it was from there that I felt when we talk about service, and that was one of our chakra cards that we pulled yesterday, service. And so when we think about service, we all have a job to do related to service. But we have to be strong individuals to be able to provide services for others and love for others. And this is where that self-love and building up our strength, our endurance, our knowledge, our intuition, all of these things that are going to help us to be greater individuals, to not only lift ourselves, but to lift others along, right, as well. And so this is the work. This is the work that we're doing. Again, I want to welcome everybody for tuning in. I was just waiting for people to just sort of come on board, but I thought it was important just to kind of give everybody a sense of, well, how did this get started? And then, of course, the topic is, and where do we go from here? So we're going to get to that particular point as well. So for me, I feel as though service right now, as I'm looking at my own service, I have throughout my life, at the age of 7, that was the first time that I was involved with a protest march. My dad was a community, what I would say, a community-minded activist. And so I was marching. We were on picket lines. We were doing sit-ins. I could have very well been one of the young, beautiful young girls, 4 girls that were killed in the bombing in Birmingham because of how we would sit in church as a part of sit-ins. So that's where that all started for me. I began to become very socially conscious, not only from my father, but from my mother. And all the way through, whether or not if I was coming through, my dad died at the age of 10. And so when he passed away, we moved to a housing development. And it was there that we had the Black Panther Party serving us breakfast on Saturdays every morning, giving us just wonderful insights into who we were culturally. Malcolm X was part of my influence. Martin Luther King, SCLC. So all of that was going on when I was a young person. And so I can tell you, I can't count the number of marches that I have been involved with, or rallies that I have spoken on. And so sometimes when things continue to come to you, you begin to realize what your passion is and how you bring that together. And this is part of mindfulness. Some of you are still searching. What is it that I should be doing right now? Not only as it relates to the double crisis that we're experiencing, and I say double because I'm not only talking about the coronavirus, I'm also talking about the virus of racism and the impact that it has had, especially on Black people in America. And so here we have all of these things going on, and each of us are searching what is the best way that we can contribute to help make change in this country and in the world. It's an exciting time. Never before in history have we had such large marches, protests, rallies. Voices are being heard around the world. And yesterday I actually read just a very long list of what those protests have helped to produce by way of commitments for change. So whether or not if that's arresting these officers that are responsible, again, not only for the death of George Floyd, but for all the other countless deaths that we can count, right? And so it's a time in which we are desperate for change as human beings. And so it's a time in which I think a lot of us are feeling very hopeful to stay on top of, but on top of it in many different ways. That's how we're teaching our children while they're home, right? That is, how do we lend a hand to our neighbors, our elders, our young children? How do we help to grow organic gardens together where we're having fresh produce that helps to keep our minds sharp and our bodies strong, right? How do we teach each other just survival kinds of techniques to become stronger as a people? How do we reclaim our ancestral heritage that is ever so powerful, right? So these are a lot of the things that we've been asking about and getting in tune with. And we talk about our ancestor spirits being with us. They are our guides. They know the things that we should be doing. So if you have a passion, you want to continue to follow that passion. If you're not sure of what it is, you want to continue to meditate. We've done many different forms of meditation and chanting and all kinds of things that will bring higher level energy to us so that we can hear directly from our ancestors how to respond. So we can listen to our inner voices so that we can respond to our instincts positively, right? And so today is the day for celebration. 30 days of concentrating on, for many, so many new things to learn. So thank you for having the trust and the confidence and the energy and the support. Thank you so much for having that faith, because we've now become a very strong collective. Whoever is on this live or is watching it recorded, we are a part of a worldwide collective. All over the world right now, there are communities of elders, communities from various churches, communities from different coalition groups that are working for social justice. And those energies are beginning to all come together collectively. And the power is rising. The power is rising. We are moving to a higher level. We are in the midst of transformation. And we should be celebrating, because this is opportunity. As bad as things seem, this is totally opportunity. So I'm hoping that I'm not frozen. I'm hoping that people are seeing. I see Neanda said it's frozen. I hope if people can just check in with me, because it is now time for us to bless our space. So please, somebody give me a thumbs up that we're good to go. Okay, I would like to, all right, okay, there. All right, thank you, Jess. Jess says we're good to go. She's hearing us. So check your phones if you're losing if it's going in and out. And don't forget, if we cut off, we'll come right back on, right? But a lot of you do have sage at home. I'm asking you to have things around you that make you feel good, that make you feel love in your heart, that you're loved and that you're giving love. Have sage to clear your space when you're trying to get rid of negative energies. And I will just lightly do that. And then sage. Sage is a very old practice. It's within many cultures. And if you know my background, you know that my doctorate is in cross-cultural studies, right? And African-centered knowledge. And so I am sharing with you the knowledge of many, many ancestors and elders from around the world. So I am saging. I hope that you all feel that, to connect with that beautiful, beautiful energy. Okay, and I'm trying to read as I go on. And that is my son, Christopher, who's sending love. Again, I want to thank all my children and great-grandchildren and grandchildren for being a part of that. That is our sage burning. And Palo Santo is also very strong for clearing. Understand that we are all connected. And as I am doing the Palo Santo, I would love for us to just do a chant and take in a nice deep breath. Okay, and we're working on willpower right now. And so with that willpower, we're working on that third chakra, which is the solar plexus. And don't forget that we are going to take in a nice deep breath through the nose, and we're going to squeeze that air out all the way until our core, that solar plexus, is so tight that we're letting go of all of that negative energy. Okay, so on the count of 3, let's take in a breath of 4. Hold the breath with positive love intention, and then exhale all the way out through the core, right there. Okay, because that's where we're really, really, really going to set our willpower for what goes on from here. Okay, so inhaling. Hold your breath. And exhale with to vibrate that core and to release the stagnation. All set? Good. Squeeze it out. You can chant anything you want to chant that resonates the frequency, that activates your energy points, your chakras. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. If some of you remember that from Tina Turner, what's love got to do with it? How did Tina Turner turn her life around? Okay, so the idea of chanting helps to release so much, and it also opens our eyes. This is mindfulness. It really opens up our pituitary gland right in here, our pineal gland, and this is our third eye. We call it the first eye, but it is the eye of intuition. So I want you to see love there. Are we ready? Any way you want to chant is fine. I'd like to do the to get this release right here. So inhaling. See love in mind's eye, relax. And exhale, One more. All right, so believe it so you can receive it. Because right now, your space, my space, it's filled with love. It's filled with knowledge and energy. And so if you have not been able to see the recordings, I would tell you go back from the beginning. I didn't get a chance to record every last one. But if you're wanting to go through this, go back to those recordings and start over, because we talk and teach about a lot of the things that I'm just simply going through quickly right now. Okay? So what I would love to do right now before we get started, I hope that we have a toast to you, all of you, with love. But you know, before you ever toast, you should give libation, because it's our ancestor spirits whose shoulders we stand upon, whose voices keep us safe and sound, and with faith and with love that we will make it. And so if you have wine, this actually is pomegranate juice. I didn't have any wine, but it's just as special. And so what we always will do, and usually I will pour this out on the ground. We all know about libation and the importance of libation. You must make an offer to your ancestors so that they continue to look out for us. So libation will be Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Ready? Ashe, 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 and Alafia, which is wishing you well-being, well-being. And so we said we were going to set our intentions today, still focused on the work that we can do that helps to contribute to all of the work that's going on right now to eradicate racial oppression in our country and throughout the world, to specifically address the needs of Black people throughout this country, in the world. For they have been such a mistreated culture, right? And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about two cultures. When I think about indigenous people of this land, and when I think about African people being forced to come to the Americas and the islands, we created the economy for this country. And so we're going to talk about that. We've been talking about a lot of things, but not connecting all of the things that are happening when we talk about racism in our schools and what it does to our students' self-esteem, mass incarceration, and what does it do to our young people who are given disproportionate amount of sentences. We've talked about a lot of different issues regarding gentrification, housing. But the bottom line is follow the money, because this is a system of privilege, power, and penalty for those who are shut out from being a part of this society. And so we'll be putting some intentions in that and seeing. I asked a question yesterday. What if we could make this world a peaceful, safe place for every human being, animal, plant life, for anything living on this earth, for Mother Earth, period? What would that look like? What would that look like for you? And so we did a mindful meditation on what that would look like. Because if we can see it in our imagination and we can envision it, then we can create it. That's how these things work. Which again, oftentimes we're not taught. That we have the power right here within us, through our imaginations, through our instincts, to create what it is that we want in the world. And we're all right now calling for peace and justice and joy and happiness and love. And that's why this self-love program is so very, very important. So again, I want to say Ashe and welcome to everyone. I wanted to start off with, so I hope that everybody had a chance. We had homework last night because we used our chakra cards. These are not tarot cards. I am not reading. What these particular cards help you to do is it's like a toolkit to get you to ask yourself questions. It's a check-in on balancing your mental, spiritual, and physical know-how. It gives you a chance to ask questions that you might not ordinarily ask. And so yesterday we pulled 3 cards and we explained them. So I'm not going to explain them today, but we pulled an additional 4 cards. People were on a roll. They chose where they wanted me to pick those cards from. So again, we are doing collective activity, right? And taking collective responsibility. Okay, and so service was the one. And that's why I talked about what service I believe that I am. And service will change at different phases of your life. Okay? So my opportunity in being a militant that could go on long marches and protests and do rallies, I'm now moving over, letting the young people take that spot and taking my position as an elderly and trying to bring that wisdom and trying to make sure we go full circle with understanding all the things that it's going to take for change. And so, service. What is your service? If you're not sure, start doing that in your morning meditation. Start doing that when you are in the zone, walking, dancing, exercising, yoga, whatever you do that puts you in the zone. Put that thought, imprint that word in your mind, service, and it will be answered. Okay, any questions as we're moving on? All righty, and so we have 3 minutes before 6:30, and so I'm going to likely cut off soon so that we don't shut off and lose this video, but then we will come back on and we will finish the reading. Is that okay? Service with a smile. Always with a smile. Got to make it genuine. You know, there's a lot of people who give and you ever feel energy from somebody that's giving you something and it's like, I don't even want that from that person. that energy was not cool, right? Oh, you're so welcome for these 30 days. It's been growth for me as well. So we've really had some growth mindsets along with the mindfulness that we've been practicing and doing this work. So this is absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to take you to the 4 card. These are the 4 cards that were remaining yesterday. All right. I'm going to tell you what they are, and then I am going to disconnect and come back on in about 3 minutes so that we can save, rejoin us, and let's evaluate what these questions are stirring up in our minds, bodies, and souls. And then we will go into where do we go from here. All righty. So let's see what cards that we have today. And thank you so much, everyone. It's a celebration. If we did 30 days consistently, you know, that's pretty hard to make a commitment every single day to do this work. But please continue doing that. So when we do the 4 card, so this is the 4 card, the 3 card meant past, present, and future. And we talked about that all being on the same plane. But I also talked about that will need a deeper session to fully go into what does that mean? How can we live on different planes simultaneously, right? How do we reach that higher level? You know, how do we become enlightened about all and what we are, right? Sorry, Konami, enjoy your yin yoga class, but go ahead and definitely pick up and catch up on the second half of the show. So today I picked, and so here are the 4 points for when you're choosing 4 cards, okay? So this is for the purpose of your intention. This is solely when you pick 4 cards, it's about looking at your intentions. All right. And again, we're using the chakra cards to do this work, not the tarot cards. It is not a reading. And so there are 4 different cards. Each one of these cards mean different things. The very first one, believe it or not, means the service. Okay. And then the next card is about facade. The next card is about being deserving. And the next card is about impartiality, right? So those are just some things that we're covering right now. I want to say hi to Camille and all that's on, and people are coming and going. But let us read our card. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, you are going to love this collective, what we pull collectively. I didn't pull these. You told me what to pull. And that just makes it so much more genuine. So here are the cards that we pulled. we pulled faith. Having faith. So as we're coming to the end of our 30 days, these 4 cards again will help to guide us for our purpose and our intention when we talk about being mindful of the things that we're doing. So that's the very first card that we pulled of the 4 is faith. Okay. The next card is despondence. Despondence. Okay. And we're going to look these up on the second half of the show. All right. The next card is recovery. Recovery. Okay. And then the very next card, and it's the last card. It's the last card. I had these in the succession that you pulled them. The last card is renewal. Renewal. All right, so let's click off here before we get shut down and give about 2-3 minutes and come on back and let's discover what each one of these are telling us to do. And then we'll do our mindfulness exercise with meditation, and we will definitely include how can we send positive energy throughout the world in doing our part to transform this world into the loving world that we all desire. So check in a few minutes. Ashe.